Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to be doing our daily technical analysis update of commodities. Work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, commodities, and ETFs that I follow. If you need any help with anything, check out finding-value.com. A lot of really good individual picks going on right now. We're breaking out of patterns, as you'll see in a lot of this stuff. And if you need any help or guidance, uh, join our community. We've got a good group of people. We've got a lot of really good picks out there. We've been doing quite well the past few months. And we have a special going on. It is Turkey for Black Friday. And you can see the discounts in the description link below if you guys want to join. Let's dive in. Let's see what's going on with the markets here. And I can give you my financial opinions. So we got the dollar here. I've talked about the dollar and yields potentially going lower. That is what we're seeing. We are seeing lower dollar and lower yields. And again, this is going to have an impact on some of those emerging markets and on commodities. I always talk about every transaction, you've got a control on half of the transactions, the dollar. If the dollar falls and everything that we're measuring against is in dollars, your price of that thing will go up if it's measured in dollars, your measuring stick. So I know this is the DXY. DXY is a relative measurement or a relative strength indicator is really what it is. As this goes down, other currencies will go up, and the investment in those other currencies become greater because people are going to go away from the dollar if it's going down and towards stronger currencies and the economies in those currencies. So we are weakening in the short term a bit in the dollar, and I do think we have further downside. We do have pretty strong support at that 101 level. Looking at yields, the short-term yields, the 2-year, up a little bit, but again, we are below this pattern that we've broken out, done a retest, and that generally will work its way lower over time. What does that mean? Usually when yields drop, depending on the severity of the drop, it could also mean that we get a weaker dollar. As we have weaker yields compared to other currencies' yields, that's generally where you get strength and weakness in the currency itself. But right now, we're below the pattern. I would say that I'm favoring a sideways motion. So I think we're going to go sideways to slightly lower in yields given where we're at in relationship to the pattern. Will the Federal Reserve raise rates? I don't know, because that will have an impact on the 2-year yield as well. The longer end of the curve is going down a little bit. We're down 0.4% in the 10-year, and that looks like it could continue lower, along with the 30-year also looks like we could continue lower on that end of the curve, the long end. And again, that's going to put pressure on mortgage rates and all these things to fall. So I do think we could see a pullback in both the 10-year and the 30-year here in the short term. Mortgage rates falling, I think the home builders look pretty strong. We are definitely underbuilt, and I think we could see some strength with respect to declining yields and those sectors. TLT, TYX, TNX, we are still really low. It's just went sideways because the 30-year and 10-year basically were moving in tandem. They were parallel moves, so to speak, lower. But we're still at a very low level. The yield curve is inverted. This is the 30 and 10. And gold is still most likely going to trade sideways if this trades sideways. As this uninverts, you're going to see gold take off and the other precious metals. Looking at bond prices are coming up a little bit, little weaker yield, little stronger bond price, and it does look like that will continue to the upside. So again, I think bond prices are going to go up in the short term. Yields will drop to some extent, and then I think we're going to see the market try to stabilize at some point. And that stabilization of the yield, I think, will be where the housing market can move home sales volume. That would be a soft landing. A hard landing would be that the yields are still too restrictive and that the restrictive nature will generate a slowdown in the market. And you could have both of these kind of go on at the same time, where some sectors slow down, other sectors remain quite resilient, and you almost get contractions and money flows rotating in this economy based off of the increased interest rates. Coming down to the gold price is basically flat. I mean, down $5 an ounce, pretty much flattened the way that I think about it. But overall, guys, this is positioned very well for a move higher. We are sitting on top of a pattern. I know people are going to say, well, when's it going to go? When's it going to do this? Calm down, guys. Like, I guess I'm a lot more patient than a lot of people. This here is sitting on top of all of these support levels, support level. And I think the general tendency of stocks sitting on support like this is to go higher. We are at an inverted yield curve. We've got a weakening dollar. I mean, the tailwinds behind gold are accelerating. And I think it's just going to be a matter of the question, when is it going to? We're already positioned for it. So, of course, I've got a lot of investment ideas around this and the markets, the other precious metals markets that we talk about. Silver's down a little bit, but again, this is just a retest of this breakout of the trend line. I think we're going higher. We clear $25 an ounce. It's probably 24 something, but we clear that. We are going to go into a launch mode, guys. This is a lot strong resistance above us. I get it. We got to break out and get above that thing. So silver's one to watch. I think a lot of the silver companies are completely and utterly beaten to a pulp. I love it. I absolutely love it. It gives me opportunities. Platinum ripping to the upside on the dailies here. Nice strong move. We're going to be breaking out of this trend line here today. Looks great. Palladium also ripping to the upside. This is a false breakdown. We can do a nice good FBO there. Let's get it. So we got a false breakout here most likely, and we are coming on up. And I think there's really good opportunities to invest in some of the companies in these areas. XAU to gold ratio, slightly higher today. I'm watching this to see if we get any sort of traction to the upside. Sometimes what you see is, I've been noticing higher lows. Sometimes you can get a double bottom and then we rip. If we start to rip, and a lot of these companies have falling wedges, they are excellent entry opportunities. If you think that we're going to get a weaker dollar, if you think that rates could potentially go down for a little bit, the yield curve may even uninvert, we'll see. Or there is stimulus or quantitative easing that you think might come in the next 6 months. This is a huge opportunity. And again, guys, if you need help, I can help you with those opportunities. CRB this is CRB index. Moving on up. I know oil was strong today, and we have a nice little trend line that we're trying to get some support on. This could be kind of almost like a flag pattern going on that we've got. CRB to S&P 500 coming up a little bit, 0.35%. Nice strong move lower. We're probably going to have to base out before turning around. But we do have support in this general location that we're going to get in this ratio. GDX slightly higher, and it does look a little bit better today. I'm watching this like a hawk, guys. I think at any point this could be a nice good move. It almost as if we've got kind of like a little inverted head and shoulders deal going on here too. GDXJ right at resistance. This thing could break at any second, and then we've got SILJ also putting in a bullish engulfing. I think we are going to head higher. I'm actually getting pretty bullish on the gold and silver mining companies, and with other commodities getting more bullish, I think this could be like a 2002, 2003-ish move where we could see everything rally together in commodities. That's what occurred in the middle of the commodity bull market, or early to middle commodity bull market, and right before wave 3. I think it felt very close and similar to what it feels like today. Crude oil up 2%. So we're up there. We can throw in a downtrend line, kind of throwing on top here. We have broken that. So that's good, but you're probably going to move sideways or maybe get a retest before heading higher. So might see a little bit of volatility in the short term, but it's broken the downtrend. Looks pretty good. TTF gas just moving sideways um, above support, so that still looks all right. There it is. We've got natural gas down a little bit, kind of drooping below support, and we'll see if this support holds right where we're at. I know it's not right on the line, and some people who take all this literal. The way I look at most of this is, you've got buyers and sellers all through here. That's your support. You're going to gain support in this general location right where we're located. So that's where we're going to see it. XOP, yeah, you know me. Down, well, momentum's down a little bit. We're up 0.16%. It didn't really follow the crude price. Maybe people think that crude price might go down still a little bit in the short term. Yeah, it's doable. We do have an inverted head and shoulders, and this thing could easily break this at some point whenever oil goes back up, or when they reliquefy the system, or when interest rates come back down, and we get a little bit more credit expansion in the system. There's obviously a little bit of a slowdown in some areas, and with all of the distortions in the market and reverse repo putting money in the market, lots of hands in this credit expansion contraction going on that are man-made and man-controlled. But this is inverted head and shoulders. I think will eventually break and have a big move. OIH also moving just roughly sideways, but we're in this flag pattern. It still looks good. We've got the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust just moving sideways today, up 0.08%. But again, we've broken some key resistance levels here in Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. We have a good chunk of resistance in this section here that we've broken. It's right about there. We've broken out of that, but we might come back and get come back here and hit it again before moving on up. But again, this can move so quick. It can gap up in a morning. I'm staying in this. I'm not trading this short term. Momentum's to the upside. Just let it roll, guys. URA also moving on up, looking fantastic, guys. We have that nice little resistance spot, and what are we doing? We're breaking higher. We are breaking higher. Now, looking back and looking at some of the previous resistance lines, we do have a little bit of resistance coming through some of these areas here. You can see through this section, we did trade quite a bit of shares through there, so we could get a little bit of overhead resistance. Wouldn't be too weird if we were to slow down a little bit, but I'm not saying that's going to be my guess. We could rip through it and hot knife through butter. We could do whatever we want here. So because we just broke through this resistance here previously. So again, a lot of the times you might get a retest, sometimes you don't, and it just rips it. The URA is looking good. We've broken through all that resistance. URANIum is looking fantastic. I think I did this on a longer term basis here. It was on the weeklies. That's ripping it. And then URNJ is also ripping it to the upside. Everything's looking quite strong. We're closing in a lot of these. This is a new all-time high for URNJ. URNM is also, we're getting up there, and it's a new closing monthly high if we can close this month out where we're at. On the weeklies, we are forging new territories as we're coming up into new all-time highs for URNM on a weekly closing basis if we can close this week out strong. So that's looking good. TAN's going up, a little bit lower yields in dollar. These very heavy interest rate sensitive sectors are starting to move on up. I think it looks good for an entry point if you like the solar guys. I don't, but it's a good entry point. COPX busting through resistance, and it's looking quite good. I like the diversified mining companies here. Copper's looking pretty strong. I like it. I like it a lot. Lithium's looking good. That's also broken its downtrend. I think we're going higher. There's your downtrend. That's a good entry point. REMX breaking its downtrend. That's a good spot to be looking at REMX and the rare earth metals. If you guys are interested, I've got a couple of rare earth metal ideas out there that look pretty good. S&P 500 continues to move up 0.74%. And then, awesome flag pattern I threw in there. And then we've got composite index also moving up for NASDAQ. So the overall markets are looking quite strong, and they are continuing to perform. KRE, the banking index, or ETF, I should say, just moving sideways, still looks good to continue higher. No strong selling pressure. I think we are going to move on up. Emerging markets, getting its feet underneath it and starting to run. I like it a lot where it's at here. There are certain sectors that look fantastic to move higher. Remember, lower yields, weaker dollar, and these guys are going to get repriced to the upside. As the foreign exchange currencies move against each other, money flows start to move. And we could see a big move in some of these emerging markets. XHB also liking the little bit lower yields, and it's continuing up 0.19%, but that still looks good to continue on higher. This will break out of everything, I think, and make new all-time highs. Right above 85, 86 is where that occurs. Moo down a little bit. There we are, but still looks like it's trying to base out. Still looks fantastic. I would be more positive on this, and we are back against support. We've got copper is ripping it, boys. Look at this. My boy copper, where we go, peeking out, coming back above that resistance line with a big fat green army showing up in this. If this recession's so bad, why is iron ore and copper moving to the upside here, guys? Something to think about. Iron ore also moving up. Iron ore looks strong like bull. Look at this thing. Iron ore. I like iron ore very much. I'll just say that. We've got aluminum also moving higher, 1.36% between support and resistance. Still in between those two. Some of the companies are really starting to take off. They're looking pretty good. Baltic Dry Index up 3.5%. Let's rip this. Iron ore going on up. Baltic Dry Index says, you know what? I like what I'm seeing. Got to go higher. And the dry bulk shipping companies also look very good. Newcastle coal down a little bit, down 1.2%. But notice that the selling pressure, this is what we want to notice, all right? Big selling pressure. Here's your bull trap. Bull trap it. Here we go, ripping lower with the big red army showing down, right? Then we kind of base out a little bit more selling pressure. Now we're basing. I think this is a great spot to be looking at potential coal companies. Some of them, the met coal companies, are just ripping it. But thermal coal, I think we are going to see a bottom here at some point, and we'll probably start moving on up, especially if natural gas and we get cold weather. If natural gas starts moving up. Bitcoin moving on up a little bit. Still looks good to go higher. And then we've got Ethereum also moving on up. And that still looks good to go and move on higher. So that's what I'm seeing in the markets right now. Thumb up for the content, guys. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. But overall, guys, I think things look pretty good. Uranium still killing it. Killing it. Closing, if we can get some good closes here on the weeklies and the monthlies, all-time highs, and that's always good for momentum. Looking at other energy, oil, nat gas. Nat gas still looks okay. Not really moving as might. Same with oil. Might take some time to base out and start moving on up. And then looking at other sectors, copper's looking good, iron ore's looking good, Baltic Dry Index looking good. Lots of opportunities out there, and with the yields coming back down, we could see home builders start to rip. Lots of potential investment opportunities out there at this time. If you want to join our community, you can use the word turkey. Turkey. We have a 50% off your first month on the monthly, and you get a discount on the yearly if you want to sign up for the year. All right, guys, that's what I've got for today. Catch you later. This is Finding Value.